Hello everybody. This is a video. I'm going to make a quiche Lorraine. Now quiche Lorraine is traditionally made with bacon, onions, and Gruyere cheese. But I'm not going to use Gruyere cheese. I'm going to use Swiss cheese, which is similar, but not quite as sharp. Okay, the pie dough is the cream cheese pie dough, which I will leave the link in the description box. Very easy and really the best pie dough you ever ate. Alrighty. Now let's see. We're gonna roll it out. We're gonna put it into the pan, into the pie pan. All right. Now you have to remember, a quiche is a custard pie. Basically, that's what it is. It's custard. So you're going to use 3 eggs per 1 cup of milk, depending on the size of the eggs. The eggs I'm using are just regular eggs. So it's 3 per cup of milk. And I'm going to use a total of 5 eggs. And I'm going to use a little bit less than 2 cups of milk. A little bit less. All right. Now what you want to do is you want to kind of build up the sides a little bit on the pie shell, so you can get, a good amount of custard in there. Okay. Also, I sauteed the onions. I didn't caramelize them, but I sauteed them and took them off the stove. They're not hot right now. They're room temperature. And the bacon, the same thing. I cooked the bacon and took it off the stove. You don't want to put the hot ingredients in the pie shell. It'll melt right through. That's not what you want to do. The ingredients should be at least room temperature when you put them in here. Now look, if you make a quiche of ham, let's say you use ham, bacon, and onion, and cheese. What you have to do is you have to sweat everything. In other words, the ham. You put the ham in a saute pan and try to get all the water out. Okay, there's the onions. Here comes about, I don't know how much that is, 10 or 12 pieces of bacon. There's really nothing set in stone on this. If you like a lot of bacon, well, put a lot of bacon in. The cheese is 1.25 cups of Swiss cheese diced. I would say that's about 8 to 10 slices of cheese. Here comes 5 eggs. All right, now, whatever you put in there, you have to try to get the water out of that item, because you don't want to add any water to the custard. In other words, if you put broccoli in, you have to blanch the broccoli. Whoops. Uh-oh. It looks like I'm a little dyslexic today. I put an egg in the shells. I'm very tired. That's why I did that. I don't know why. I'm just not thinking. Okay, so anyway, there went the 5 eggs. Okay, so if you put broccoli in, you have to blanch the broccoli. But then you have to take the broccoli out and you have to try to dry it the best you can. Dry it off with paper towels. And then chop it up, and put it in there. If you're using spinach, the same thing. You saute the spinach or wilt the spinach and then drain all the water off and then put it in paper towels to dry it. Whatever you put in the quiche, you have to try to keep the quiche dry. In other words, let the custard do its thing. You don't want to add extra moisture to the custard. That's not going to help you. Okay, so in there we have bacon, onion, cheese, and parsley. And then I'm going to add some seasoning. There goes some black pepper. I would say that's about 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. We're going to add approximately 3/4 of a teaspoon of garlic, granulated garlic, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And that's all going into the eggs. And I'm going to mix that up. All right, now we're going to add the eggs to the other ingredients. There you go. Okay, now, like I said, don't forget, this is a custard pie. So the way you can tell that it's done is it'll puff up. And make sure it puffs up all the way, not just the sides, but in the center too. Make sure everything is puffed up. All right, now I'm going to put a tent on it, because in the oven, what'll happen is the top will turn brown before the bottom does. So I put a tent on it, make it nice and loose. Uh-oh, wait a minute. I forgot the Parmesan cheese. Hold on. There you go. All right, Parmesan on top. Okay. Now make sure that that tent is loose. You don't want the tent touching the eggs, because if the tent is going to touch the eggs, then you're going to rip it when you go to remove the tent. It'll rip. You know, the eggs are ripped, so don't do that. All right, now there it is. Now here's what I have. 350 degrees for 45 minutes. Then take the tent off. And then do the last 15 minutes at 360 degrees. Turn it up a little bit and let it brown. Now, what I did was I turned it up to 360 for like 5 minutes, and then I turned on the broiler up on top of the oven. I turned the broiler on for about 6-7 minutes, and it browned it really nice. But you could leave it baking, you know. All right, now, you should wait for this to cool. You know, give it a good 20 minutes to cool before you try to cut it. However, I can't wait, so I'm cutting it now. But it's going to fall apart a little bit, which is no big deal. Woo, look at that, nice and hot. Oh, man. This stuff was very good, I must admit. The bottom of it is brown. Someone was asking me if you have to cook the pie shell before you put the ingredients in. No, you do not. No. If you use the tent, you don't have to do that. All right. So don't forget, 45 minutes with the tent at 350. Then take the tent off, and you got another 15 minutes at 360, which will brown the top. Or turn on the broiler for 6 or 7 minutes, but keep an eye on it. Don't let it burn. It is very good. Trust me. The pie dough is perfect. All right, now look. You might be able to find this someplace else around town. I don't know. But you're not going to find it any better than this. I got to go. I got to eat.